Show what's good, everybody. I'll be talking about my PvE build I use for mutations today. First week of the expansion, we tackled on the new expedition called Savage Divide. We were trying mutation 2 on a farm. We did it around between like 25 minutes. We also tried mutation 3, but it was a bit scuffed because our DPS setup was not ideal. We had two fire staffs, one of them was heavy with blunderbuss, so the damage was lacking. And M3 was pretty hard, especially the first boss, which is right here, Krok, and the last boss, because both bosses use all elements. But we are using the Hatchet and Spear. Hatchet is more for the ranged purpose, if you will. Also some of the debuffs. You can see me running through an infected throw. I chose those, especially infected. I sometimes do Raging Torrent for the DPS because I tend to use Hatchet for like big clumps of mobs because of there is a passive that gives you damage the more targets around you. And I had infected because of the disease. This was a nature affix for this mutation for the week, which means mobs with an affix called Compost, they dropped an AoE upon their kill, upon their death, which healed around mobs. And as you can see, I got fat stack loot from this boss, 4 legendaries, which is pretty insane. So we mainly use Spear for the debuffs, just as the damage. Our rotation is 2 light attacks, skill, 2 light attacks, skill, no dodging in between. You can dodge with Hatchet, because of I'm running Opal there, but on Spear I'm running Diamond. That's your best choice. No more Elemental Split Gem, I believe. Always felt nice with the Diamond. We're using a Grasping Wine Brutal as a hard rune, which applies rent on the targets. Gives you a debuff of stamina regeneration, but that one is fine. There's also one of the best rings in here. Mainly for, well, I would use it actually for both PvE and PvP. It's the Azoth Crystal Band, I believe. I will show that in a bit. I believe I still have it. I will talk about the drip, or if you want to get the drip, let me know. I'm not really sharing that because, you know, that's my company dress code. Nah, not really, I'm kidding. It's a joke. But it's just to showcase how it is in the new mutations, basically, because they reduced them from mutation 10 to mutation 3, so people have easier time to get a groups going, which is much better. It's much smoother too to get a group. Difficulty, I believe the M3 is more difficult than mutation 10 before. I believe when devs talked about it. And overall, very satisfied with this dungeon. Like first boss and last one, you actually have to look around and think about the fight, if you will. It's no more like DPS check, just like, well, it's also a DPS check, but there is more tactics and whatnot compared to Lazarus, right? Chartis, that one is just Smork, just pure DPS raise, same as kind of Genesis boss, the last one. Maybe actually even the first one. But yeah, it's the AoE, the cloud, it's the AoE from disease, infected throw, applies, you know, disease, which is cool, healing reduced on mobs. And you'll see these mobs dropping composts like green AoE. And yeah, let's get straight into the business then. I'll show you what we are working with. So first things first, the attribute points, I tend to switch them up a little bit. I sometimes go more dex and then strength, but I like the perks, what they did. They changed them from PTR. So these are pretty powerful. Base damage is a different category than Empower. There are two like categories for damage. Empower, which is 50% cap. That's pretty easy to reach thanks to the buffs, Opal, Honing Stone, stuff like that. And the base damage is outside of that, so it's extra damage. Dexterity here, not that great perks. You get, you know, CC, Dispel on weapon swap, and here you get crit chance, which we don't need at all since we are hitting the backstab, which is always a crit. So I tend to do this split. 50 con, just because I'm not a total paper. Very good too. I am running medium because I was not able to get light pieces at all. With this new gear looting, the gear drop is based on what you're wearing, what your weapons are. Attribute, same story. So it's quite alright, but if you start as medium, yeah, you will get mostly medium pieces. Some heavy, very few light, very few. Masteries for the Hatchet are as follows. So there's a thing with Berserk now. You can still animation cancel Berserk, but if you do that, this movement speed passive doesn't work, and this stagger immunity doesn't work at all, as far as I'm aware. I asked, little bird told me it's intended. Not sure if there's gonna be something else instead of this. We'll see. So it's good for the CC removal. You might not even need this, so you can just, you know, you can get the leeching, or you can just get the Berserk just for the damage, 20%, which is pretty good. That's, by the way, also towards Empower Cap, so for Hatchet, it's quite alright. Quite easy to get Empower Cap. Here we go, against all odds, damage increase. That's why I use it in clumps. Abilities, heavy attacks, we use it for abilities. We got light attacks. I believe Raging Torrent is still counting as light attacks, so that should support it. You do just one Raging Torrent, you have the Empower buff. Running Throw fully maxed out. Nice cooldown reduction, good damage. It's 130% damage with this passive right here. And then active debuff, PvE, there's always active debuffs. I really like this ultimate, unlike Defy Death, this one. I don't really find this too useful anymore. Maybe with the artifact Ankh amulet, but I don't have that. I like this one for damage increase. It's 12%, almost non-stop in PvE. Since you yourself have a lot of debuffs. I'm using the cooldown reduction for efficient throws. This one is not that needed, but I don't know where else to put it. The crit chance, stamina on hit, probably not needed at all in PvE. I'm just used to it. Aim and throw. And because, the new dungeon, also most dungeons and on most boss fights, it's not really melee friendly. That's why I decided to go with Hatchet Throw. And there's also nice debuffs, nice damage too. I was almost able to crit for 10,000 with Infected Throw in the new expedition, which is pretty cracked. That's the setup for Hatchet. Now we got Spear. That's the classic. This will probably never change, unless they do some changes. But Perforate for the Rend. We got Skewer for the Weaken, which is on my Spear. It's a debuff. It's a must-have. Applies almost a full cap of Weaken, which is reducing target's damage by 47%. It should be 48, but I don't have 700 gear score Spear. Then we got Cyclone. They buffed the damage this skill does through the roof, so we definitely pick this one over Sweep. But you can also use Sweep with the Bleed perk to charge your Heart Rune faster, but I'm a big fan of Cyclone. You do not want to pick this because it pushes targets back, which is going to mess up your AoE clump for the group. And you could use, if you need cooldowns fast, you could always dodge before using ability, these aggressive maneuvers, but not really needed. Knockdown here, we use it if anyone in the group has a skill that knocks down the mobs. So it's pretty standard for the Spear. When it comes to gear, like I said, I'm running medium. I was not really lucky with gear with setup. The reason why I have nature gems is because, once again, it was a nature week for the dungeon. So I got this as a drop. You're mainly looking for health. Your main perk should be health, refreshing. That's your 2-perker. And third one could be like Enchanted Ward, which is the damage reduction from light and heavy attacks for PvE. Or you could even go with Elemental Aversion. This is my chest piece. We got the refreshing. I'm overcapped now. Max are 4 perks, but even if you overcap, it's still counting. So don't worry about it. My gloves here. I mean, these are not too bad. Like, these are 2 perkers for PvE. Luck doesn't work in dungeons. Don't worry. That's useless. You want to use Artifact Pants because of the stat increase. Also, it does not increase AD Magnify. It's bugged. It should be 50, I believe. So these pants are like 60 more, or like 60 overall attributes for one stat. Like, it's 10 to others, as you can see well rounded. But refreshing elemental version, I didn't pick the last perk for it, but I would 100% go with health or a weapon perk if you need it. My boots here are almost useless, almost like a 0 perk item. So I just use it for the gear score. I should probably replace it. For the weapons, Hatchet once again, running throw is very useful on the weapon because your ranged attacks are 40% stronger. That's why I could hit for almost 10,000 with infected throw if there is a rend cap on the mobs. So that's pretty insane. Heal eject, good damage, bleed. Charges your heart rune pretty fast too because it's a dot, even though they nerfed it. Shuriken Abyss, kinda useless. You would want to get Rogue. My spear here, I got it as a drop. This is pretty good. So we got Vicious. Rogue will be better, 100%. But we're mainly after the Skewer as a weapon perk. And Lifesteal you don't need at all. You would get Attunement. Attunement would be probably the best. We got the Heart Rune, which is the Grasping Vines, Brutal, which applies a rend on the target, which is 20% damage. Excuse me, 20% reducing armor. And also applies a Weaken, so this Heart Rune is a must-have. You want to have one in a group of this Heart Rune. Then you would want Detonate, you would want the Firestorm maybe. But yeah. But Detonate is still the best for DPS. This is my Amulet, also got it as a drop. Divine Health. You know, to help healer make his job easier with healing. And power lasting longer, not too bad either. I'm using this ring and earring for PvP. That's why you see opals. But also, you know, the Savage imitation or the bosses are using all elements, so that was useful. But you wouldn't want to have like one specific gem. So ring, we got Hardy, Keen Awareness, Leeching. Keen Awareness is not needed. You would want to get Slash. So you can even get Refreshing if you don't have it on gear instead of Leeching, because you don't need it either. Earring, we got Fortifying Toast. Once again, you would want to get Empowering Toast. Those are the 2 new perks, and they're on the same row. Refreshing and Nimble. Not needed nimble any that much in PvE. You would want to get like threat reduction if your tank is struggling, but I was playing with pretty good tanks, so they were not struggling really. They were doing a good job on that. On the consumables, we are using the coding for the given dungeon, tier 5, using the regen potions, the health potions. I have Hardy Meal as my 4th for a quick heal if healer is dead or he is unable to. We got Honing Stone for the damage increase. You can even use like Oak Flesh Balm for physical, like armor. Or you can use the Gemstone for the magical. You can also use the War Potions. They actually changed these, right? These are probably must-have to use because it lasts for 40 minutes. It's a damage absorption, which is not armor. It's normal damage reduction, I believe. So that comes super handy. And when it comes to rotation, like I mentioned, you want to apply debuffs with your Hatchet. You also want to always pop Berserk before you apply the debuffs. If you go in Mask Clump, you just go with Raging Torrent. You can go either light 3 attacks, then dodge, 3 attacks, dodge. Or you can just go with 4 light attacks. This is the whole light attack chain. If you know you're not going to get punished for it. For Spear, you want to start with Skewer to apply Weaken. Then you want to follow with the light attacks, Perforate. You want to do 2 light attacks into Cyclone. Again, 2 light attacks. By this time, you would already have a Skewer ready because of this passive on Spear. Reducing cooldowns by 10% on the second hit of the light attack chain. So that's pretty good. And I believe we covered just about everything. And of course, you need the, what's it called? Trophies for the given dungeon, for the given mobs. These are pretty cheap, wildlife. Rest, I have blue ones. It's only lost, I think I have major 2 right here, but the rest are just blue. And just doing just fine. And yeah, I'm streaming every day on stream. It will be in the top comment, in the pinned comment, in the description. You can also access my Discord. There's going to be a link. If you need any help, just ask me on Discord. You can ask me on YouTube. I'm always here, always there. So don't worry about it. And thank you all for watching. Until then, you have a good one. Also, PvP build coming. It's going to be Hatchet Gauntlet, and it's absolute beast. Alright, take it easy, everybody. See you soon.